Tammy, and I am sending this video from Atlanta, Georgia, United States. A friend of mine told me about it, so I joined, and I was a little bit hesitant, but I got committed and stayed on. So back in the early 2000s, probably like 2001, 2002, I was diagnosed with a pituitary tumor that secreted prolactin. Now, I had gone to my OBGYN for my annual checkup, and for some reason, they wanted to do a blood test to check why my cycles were irregular. So, of course, I said, okay. So after that, they found that my prolactin level was very high, of that of someone who would be pregnant, which I was not. And so they did a MRI just to check on the pituitary to make sure that everything was okay. Well, to my dismay, they came back and said there was a tumor on my pituitary. So they proceeded to put me on medication, saying that the medication would shrink the tumor and I'd be on my way. Well, this went on until January of 2022. I had been on this medication for years. Tumor never shrank. It actually started growing, and they kept trying to change the medication to see what would work. Some of the medications I couldn't tolerate, and to be honest, there was only two that I could choose from. So the one that I was able to tolerate, it just didn't do anything. So I decided that because this medication was causing some other side effects, I was going to stop and allow my God, who is a healer, to heal me. Pastor Jerry started mentioning it quite regularly, like pituitary tumor.
I command that tumor in your pituitary gland. That tumor in your pituitary gland. By the power that raises us from the dead, let it be reversed.
I'd seen a couple other people put their testimony in about them being healed from a prolactin pituitary tumor and so on. And so watching the testimonies on NSPPD, I was like, if God did it for them, I know he can do it for me. So I told my doctor that I wasn't going to take it anymore. So he agreed that let's just see what happens. Fast forward to July 2022, I went back to my doctor and we did a blood test. The blood test was showing the prolactin levels have gone way, way down. And he was like, well, let's do an MRI to see what the MRI says. We do the MRI. So I get the results, and the MRI says that the tumor was immeasurable. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? I asked my doctor, what does that mean? It's immeasurable. He's like, basically, it's not there. And I was like, wait, what? And so he was like, well, let's follow up within a year just to see if anything changed. Well, lo and behold, Elroy, the God who sees me, the tumor is totally gone after 20 plus years of high prolactin levels because of a prolactin secreting tumor on my pituitary. And I just wanted to send in my testimony, because every time I watch NSPPD, Pastor Jerry saying to give your testimony, share your testimony. So here I am, after only being on the altar for a short time, for a couple years, that off of medication and taking medication for 20 years, I just don't. Pastor Jerry says, how will you shout? I didn't even know how to shout. He's like, how will you dance? I was like literally in shock, because I had been on this medication, like I said, for 20 years. And I am here to say, what our God cannot do, surely, truly does not exist. I thank you, Pastor Jerry, for your commitment. And as they say, may the oil on your head never run dry.